If you will permit, we can now go to SMSs and social media feedback.
Feel free to.
Thank you, sir. We have one from an SMS from Mediba and Romain Grass from Jeune Afrique. They say a diplomatic rapprochement with the DRC since the election of Felix Tshisekedi is regularly disrupted by accusations from politicians and members of civil society who denounce the impunity of crimes committed between the two Congo wars. These critics lean on the mapping report and point specifically to the role played by Rwanda. What would you reply to these people who, in the DRC and elsewhere, call for an investigation with an international mandate to look into these events, and how would you describe the polemic surrounding your ambassador in Kinshasa?
What?
Your ambassador in Kinshasa, the issues that surround your ambassador in Kinshasa.
Okay. Well, let me start from the end to the beginning. What surrounds the ambassador in Kinshasa is not different from the facts or issues to the beginning of the question as to us. So ambassador is just because he's our ambassador, Rwanda's ambassador. Now they put him in that story, which now, for those who want us to go back and live in the history, I think they will discover very soon, and as a matter of fact, that they have more responsibility in that history than either Congo or Rwanda. So whatever they are wishing for, they would rather be careful. Because the problems and history of Rwanda or DRC start way back. It's a long, but people are starting the narrative at the time of their choosing. They just choose to pick a point in time and start from there the history, the very long history, otherwise, of either Rwanda or DRC. People talk about mapping report. I don't know what that nonsense is about. That the wars that were fought in DRC, yes, you have to be careful of what you have to analyze. Where did this story come from? People just woke up one morning and found people are fighting wars, or there is where it started from. Let me tell you a story which maybe people don't even realize. Even if you are to start in 1990, do you know that, in fact, the first forces that entered Rwanda were from DRC, that is Zaire then, under Mobutu. When they came here and went as far as Gabiro and ravaged the whole place, that Gabiro place used to be a resort and so on. Later on it was turned into a barracks and so on, and this is where the Congolese came under Mobutu. They had crossed the border from Rubavu-Gisenyi with the Goma, entered. They had come to rescue their man who was killing Rwandans themselves, himself. So, for Rwandans, any Rwandan or Rwandan forces to come from Rwanda to enter Congo, this was the second after DRC forces entered Rwanda. So this is a fact of history. So those people need to go back. So why did the DRC come to Rwanda? Second, by that time it was Zaire. It's not. Second, when the genocide against the Tutsis happened here, and later on the genocidaires went to Congo, they were going to a place they were comfortable with because of that beginning where Mobutu was on their side and was in a cohort with the forces that were responsible, the Habyarimana story and before that and so on and so forth. Now, the wars that were fought, first of all, I don't know whether they are saying that, even by the way today, these groups we are fighting, the armed groups that are based in the Congo, or those that were associated with the refugees that went there in 1994, all those groups, armed groups, were killing Congolese. But they are killing Congolese from the refugee camps, among the refugees. So I don't know whether they are combining all that and then saying, no, it is the government of Rwanda today that is responsible for that. Then there were other wars fought because of how the government in DRC was associated with FDLR, the genociders, and so on and so forth, which led to a wider war that brought in countries even from the Southern African region. So these wars that happened and had history, to simplify everything and say Rwanda did this, I think I can easily understand what whoever is involved is really up to. It's like, get all this mess, put aside whoever else was involved, let's load it on Rwanda. Because it provides a very good mask behind which they are able to hide and for their own responsibilities. Whether it is some Africans or even those, some of them in DRC, or bigger and worse still, from outside of our continent. This whole narrative which they keep playing is for no other purpose. It's for their own guilt for what they did or did not do that actually either led to the genocide in Rwanda or to their inaction when that was happening. So afterwards, they tried to turn the story around and place it somewhere which they think would end the long story and argument about their own responsibility, and that is putting it on Rwanda's shoulders. But Rwanda has been the victim. So now it is a very nice way of turning the victim into a perpetrator of a crime in which you actually are more responsible than anyone else. So I don't understand the nonsense about mapping report. It was written by some people who are acting on behalf of some societies that terrorize a lot about the ideas and so on, the freedoms, the human rights, the democracy. When it comes to Africans, they massacre them like they don't need to exist. But the good thing is, I think the whole hypocrisy and the double standards are beginning to hit home in their own places. Yes, they even terrorize their own people, and I think their own people have come to discover that, and that's how they turn against their leaders. But they have these other NGOs, some of these non-governmental institutions that, well, some of them even taking advantage of being in a possession of the media tools they can use against others, and they are the ones in charge, so everything plays out. So, honestly, I don't understand. Somebody is demonstrating against our embassy in Kinshasa. What is the story? I don't understand it. That the ambassador who is there to bring about a good understanding between good two countries that are neighbors, that are brotherly, that should work together all along. Now they go and attack the ambassador. So you are attacking this relationship. Yes, that might even mean behind it there are those people who are not happy about the relationship, because the relationship, according to some people, must always be hostile, antagonistic between DRC and Rwanda, so that the truth never comes out about their own involvement. Yes. In fact, if the so-called mapping reports, which, by the way, should be involving these foreign entities, foreign to Africa meaning, if it was so much focused on that, it would disappear. It would never exist. But they have created it in such a way that for them, they want to feature in their own responsibility in this. So it is Rwanda, and because they need support locally on the ground, they incorporate some elements in DRC and say, you are the victims. So you should be complaining against Rwanda, but they are really the ones trying to hide their own responsibility. So this is where things have been working for the last 25 years, 26. Yes. This story about what happened here in our country is loaded with criminality that goes way beyond our African borders. And since they are the ones who want to dictate what happens here and there, then this is the way it plays out.